Next, let's look at the decision strategy. Here is application gets decision whether approval or decline. There are many decision elements available, but every lender usually will look at least two major decision elements. One is credit bureau score, one is application score. Credit bureau score is the score that the lender purchases from the credit bureau. Application score usually is developed specifically for the application population for a given lender. So it's essentially a custom score. There are fair ISAC, different credit bureaus. They provide a service to help each lender develop their own application scorecard. So these two scores are typically used in a deal score matrix fashion. So you have credit score, credit bureau score to give you the consumer's overall history. You also have the application score to reflect the particular application demographic, right, related to this particular lender. Okay, let's look at some examples here. This is a very simplified example. In the table, you can see horizontally on the top, we have application score. It's ranging from 1 to 999. On the side, we have a credit bureau score. We have some score bands, and it shows the 24 months loss rate based on analysis of sample data. You can see that typically the low score means higher risk. In the corner, upper left corner here, if your credit bureau score less than 600, application score also less than 600, your loss rate is as high as 30%. You really don't want to approve this because that's too high to earn any money at all. On the other hand, if you have a high score for both scores, on the lower right corner, you can see application score 900 plus, credit bureau score 720 plus, the loss rate as low as 2%. So how do we use this deal score matrix? Remember we talked about the risk appetite. So then let's look at the lender's risk appetite. In this case, they only allow to approve segments with a loss rate within 8%. Okay, so that's the risk appetite statement. Based on that, we can carve out all the segments, right? So you see the bolded line. So this carve out all the segments that with loss rate within 8%. So that's where you want to approve. Outside this box, so those will be declined. So yeah, here essentially this is illustration of your decision strategy based on credit bureau score and application score. And once you have a strategy, you deliver to the credit system team. They will code it in the specific credit decision engine. Okay, so essentially at the end, so behind the scene, these are translated into a lot of if-else statements, right? Okay, so this is the example how we use loss performance and the risk appetite to drive the approval decline decisions. In reality, you could introduce additional criteria, right? So use more decision elements. For example, we can introduce another score called the bankruptcy score. Typically, it predicts the chance that applicant becomes bankruptcy in the next 24 months. So this is a population weight, meaning your portfolio is 100%. What's the distribution of the application So along the different score ranges. Again, typically the high score means lower risk. So the right-hand side means lower bankruptcy risk. You can see that most of the applications they are on the right-hand side. Okay, so that means most of the consumers they have a very low bankruptcy risk. Right? That makes sense. So what you want to pay attention is really people on the long tail on the left, right? So these are the high bankruptcy risk applications or consumers. You can choose a cutoff through analysis. For example, below 600, you simply decline because of the high risk for bankruptcy. For the rest, you approve them, and they will continue along the decision strategy flow. Okay, this is just one example of bankruptcy score. You can also introduce, for example, whether the applicant has existing banking relationship, right? So yeah, there are just so many different elements you can lay on top of the deal score matrix. But just remember, so once you introduce more decision elements, the complexity of your strategy increases. So you have to balance the benefit gained from finer segmentation versus the complexity. So for that, you have to look at your population size, right? So if you have small portfolio, you probably don't want to introduce too many decision elements because each segment becomes small and small, and also the performance might not be stable over time. Okay,